The Nashville Predators played a pretty good game, but laid a 3-minute egg in overtime against the Utah Mammoth on Saturday. Today, we'll talk about one thing that could have been the difference between 1 point and two in a competitive Central Division.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off our week shouting out our Locked On Predators insiders and, of course, our everydayers who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio and Friends. I have a Thelma to my Hockey Louise.
You do. I'm Emma Lingan, and I'm an NHL reporter and host for the Hockey News.
Well, it started off better than last year. So far, the Nashville Predators have earned 3 of 4 points in their first two games. On today's show, though, we are going to take a look at Saturday night's overtime loss against the Utah Mammoth. We're going to recap that loss with our one word to describe the game. We are also going to share some thoughts on that 3-on-3 overtime, friends. Yeah. And then we're going to take a minute and share some far too early observations about the Nashville Predators team as we get you ready for today's noon puck drop against the Ottawa Senators. Before we dive into all of that today, we do want to let you know today's episode's brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, Emma, first Saturday night in Smashville, and not an easy team right out of the gate. We've been talking about the Predators' schedule is a little bit challenging. They faced a very good Utah team, lost 3-2 in overtime. We're going to get to the in overtime portion of our program soon. Oh.
But you know what? And far be it for me to be the optimist here on the show. But the Predators, as you mentioned, now have 3 out of a possible 4 points. You know how long it took this team to get to the 3-point mark last year?
Oh my gosh.
7 games. It took 7 games to get to 3 points. So I'm just saying, we're riding high right now.
Yeah.
Let's keep it all in perspective. We're doing okay. But yeah,
okay.
it was not the prettiest on Saturday night.
Yeah. The overtime was rough. But Emma, we always kick off our game recaps with one word to describe what unfolded in front of us. If you had to describe Saturday night's 3-2 overtime loss to the Utah Mammoth in one word or more, our rules, how would you describe that game?
Penalties.
Girl.
Penalties on all sides. I mean, I don't know. So by the end of it, I mean, what was the biggest takeaway to me was that the Predators power play is so bad. It's so bad. They went 0 for 5. Now, Utah also went 0 for 4, but for some reason it didn't stick out to me how bad Utah's power play was. Maybe because I spent 84 years watching the exact same power play structure last season. They are running back the exact same structure. There is no speed, there is no fluidity to it. It's that, that god-awful drill that they do with the power play where they just pass the puck back and forth. That's all it looks like. And it's not threatening whatsoever. And if you're going to be gifted 5 chances on the man advantage and you're going to do nothing with them, then what are you even doing? I mean, I guess, if we're trying to keep perspective based on last year, I mean, at least they look a little better at 5-on-5 this year, but good Lord, this power play. I mean, It's not, I mean, it's like they don't even try. I know you and I were talking about it during the game and saying like, oh, you committed a penalty. All right, well, we'll give you 2 minutes. Catch
Yeah.
your breath in the
Take a
penalty.
minute.
But you don't take a minute. Take 2 minutes. Don't even worry about it. We'll be right here when you get
Yes.
back. Totally
Yeah.
fine.
Nothing will have
And
changed.
they could play the entire game at 5-on-4 and still not do anything. I'm convinced. I mean, it was I think it was just more noticeable with how many penalties were committed in that game on both sides, frankly. But I mean, just the amount of time, even, I mean, 0 for 5, I'm like, really? They only had 5 power plays? I thought
It
there was
felt like
more,
more.
but yeah, so that was my biggest, like, the most glaring thing to me.
Yeah. It's not scary. That power play is not scary. You don't have to do a lot to defend against that power play. They had a couple of good chances every once in a while, but the threats on the power play were the exception. They were not the norm on Saturday night. Yeah, that was rough. My one word is 2 words, and those 2 words are Three Musketeers. Because that's a candy bar, and everybody likes a candy bar, but it ain't no Reese's, friends. Like, that's what that game was to me. It's like
Yeah.
when you go out for Halloween and somebody gives you a Three Musketeers bar, you're like, all right, I'm going to eat that because it's free candy. But you really want the Reese's in your plastic pumpkin. And that game was a Three Musketeers bar for me. Like, I'll take it. I'll take 1 point. But,
Yeah.
you know, it was just okay. It was just a Three Musketeers bar. We, of course, ask our Locked On Predators insider community for their one word to summarize a game. One of our insiders said, sure, they were up, fell apart late in the third, lost it in overtime. That sure sounds like Nashville. another insider's one word was dang nabbit, so close. And then another one was, my one word is alarm clock. We kept getting caught snoozing. I'm glad we got the playoff point, and it's not the worst outcome. And it's true. This was not the worst outcome, from a game. It was not the worst performance. There was a lot to like about this game. There were definitely some, like you mentioned, glaring things that the Predators could take away from this game and really chew on, which I would love to see. This is what Andrew Brunette had to say after the game about the play of the team.
I really liked our game for most part of these last 2. I thought we broke the puck out really well. I liked the vibe on the bench, the positivity. I didn't feel we sat back in the third. I thought we got a little loose early on in the third, and I really liked us. We kind of made one kind of mistake and went in the back of our net, and we had great opportunities. I think Stammer had a great look, a couple great looks, and we had a couple power plays. So the game changes. We didn't get that third goal, and and then you're playing the margins when you don't get that 2-goal lead.
Yeah, I think it's hard to really feel horrible about the Predators' performance Saturday night because there was a lot to like. I think there's been a lot to like in both of the first 2 games. But again, you have to say to yourself and your soul, I really hope this is not the final iteration of the Nashville Predators, because it's not quite enough. It's just not quite enough. And that doesn't necessarily have to do with the overtime, just overall, it's not quite enough.
Yeah, I mean, now it's been 2 games that we've seen, and I think, and I said this about the last game because it's consistent to me. It feels like this team has, not, as I said, not regressed to the mean. They progressed to the mean, and it seems like they have progressed back to where they were 2 years ago, under the first, like, when Andrew Brunette's first season, where it was like, all right, like, it's fine, but like there's a lot more that can be done here, especially offensively. And I think that, again, I thought Juuse Saros looked fantastic again, and
Yes.
they were letting him, the defense, they were letting him see the puck, which is great. That being said, I think they let a few too many pucks get to him, where he had to stop them. But he's incredibly good at doing that. So, I thought that was fine. I thought, but it was just like the offensive creation that it wasn't there. Especially on the power play. Again, it was, and when they did, I will say, There was less of the now, unfortunately, Utah's first goal that they scored was the result of an offensive zone turnover by Roman Josi. They got the breakaway, and this is a young, fast Utah
Fast.
team. And so,
Yes.
like, you cannot let that happen. And what
Mhm.
I will say is they let it happen early, and it looked like very quickly after that, they learned from it and they just locked down, and they did
Mhm.
not give up a lot of those turnovers, those, like messy, sloppy plays. They defended very well. Unfortunately, they didn't offend very well. It was very much like protect the puck, protect the house,
Yes.
like don't let them get. It was like playing keep away. But
Mhm.
it was like, all right, well, you did that fine, but like, how about we actually score some points of your own? That would be nice. But I mean, like, progress in the sense that you could see the learning happening. It was like, ooh, we made that one early mistake.
Mhm.
Let's not let that happen again. And they didn't, I don't think. But yeah, it just you left that game thinking, oh, there's so much more.
Right.
There's just like not enough. It wasn't so much like they did so many things poorly. It was more that
Mhm.
they just didn't do enough of the good things. And it just felt like
Yes.
they were constantly defending. And they were fine at that until overtime, which we're going to talk about because I think they thought the game was over after the third period based on the way that overtime looked, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. No, I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly how I felt. Like I didn't walk away saying, "Oh my gosh, they were so terrible." I walked away saying, "Wow, my frustration is that they can do better than that. There's more there." I love that the defense looks the way it does, but you are not going to win a lot of hockey games in this league scoring 2 goals in 60 minutes. You're just not. Coming up, we are going to talk about those minutes that go past 60, friends. Yes, the Predators lost this game in the longest and most excruciating 3 minutes of hockey history, or at least for us. We'll talk about what went wrong in overtime. Today's episode is brought to you by our great friends at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it is 401ks, properties, or their investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It is an all in one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy to use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you have put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and you will finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Monarch is a great tool for young adults just starting out, and it also helps partners stay on the same page when it comes to future financial goals. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use our code Locked On NHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That is 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with our code Locked On NHL. Yeah, the overtime, friends. Emma and I have to talk about the overtime. There is one thing, one split second that could have potentially changed the trajectory of this game, of this season. I don't know if it's of this season, but it feels big right now. Win the opening faceoff. You want to know how you win overtime? Get the opening faceoff anymore. Overtime used to be fun. Emma, do you remember the days when 3-on-3 overtime was fun and exciting and things happened and oh my gosh, and he got the puck? No, this was literally 3 minutes of watching grass grow and paint dry because Utah won the opening faceoff and Nashville never touched the puck again. Never touched the puck again for 3 minutes. It is so difficult anymore to win overtime without getting that initial possession. And we just absolutely saw that unfold in front of us. It was not a fun overtime, Emma. I give it 0 stars. Would not recommend.
Absolutely would not recommend. It was very painful. It was like kind of the reverse of watching that. I mean, maybe not the reverse. I don't know what the right word would be, but like when I was talking about the power play and how frustrating it is that they just keep passing it around to each other, and how infuriating and maddening that is.
Yes.
And then it's like the net, it's right there, you guys. Like, do you not know? Like, it's right there. But in this, it was like, hey, guys, the puck, you're supposed to get it. Like,
Yeah.
go get it. And
Yeah.
I personally did not agree with, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily the only reason that they lost this game, but I'm like, given the outcome, I have to point it out. Why you put Steven Stamkos out there for 3-on-3 overtime, I don't get it. He has not looked good in either of these games.
No.
And I think, and in different ways, honestly. I mean, this second game, I mean, first of all, he couldn't stay out of the penalty box with his various infractions. But I think that I just, why would you put him out there? He's still one of the, like, he's not defensively responsible, first of all. Like, he
Right.
definitely hasn't been in the last couple of games. And you're going up against guys like Dylan Gunther out there, who ended up scoring the OT winner. I was like, don't you want someone with a little bit more speed, a little bit more defensive responsibility? I don't know. It seemed like, why would you put out the guy who has been struggling hard in these first two games? Why would you put him out there? And it's just, again, I'm not ready to go totally scorched earth on Andrew Brunette for this yet, because it's one decision in two games, but it's a lot of the, like, what we've seen about, you know, are you holding players to the same kind of standards? Because, like, if that had been, I don't know, Luke Evangelista, who had been struggling really hard, would you put him out there? Probably not. And it's just, I don't, and listen, please hear me when I say I'm not suggesting that putting Evangelista in at 3-on-3 instead of Stamkos would have won this game. That's just for comparison sake. But I just think that it was a questionable decision at first that I would have been happy to have been proven wrong about. But it felt like they started behind the ball and they just never caught up in overtime.
Yeah. And that is what you see happening now in overtime. It's, you get possession, and you saw Utah do it. And here's what I say, credit to Utah, because you played it right. I was bored out of my mind, but Utah, I get it. You get possession, you keep possession, you keep rotating your guys in and out and trapping the defenders on the ice for extra long, and you wait until you absolutely get just the dream scenario, and then you win the game. You know, so I can't fault Utah for it. I don't like it. It was not fun for anybody except Utah. And I do agree with you. When I think about the Utah Mammoth, the thing that jumps out at me, and the thing that you had to be cognizant of for 60 minutes, is you have to keep this team with that much speed contained. Put the guys out there that are going to be able to contain that speed. And the flip side of that, I think probably Andrew Brunette's thinking is, we've got to get Stamkos going. Steven Stamkos took one shot on Saturday. They had, hear us, 5 power play chances. Steven Stamkos in 60 minutes or 63 minutes took one shot. Steven Stamkos should be taking one shot on every power play. It's that simple. Take one shot on every power play. He should have at least had 5 shots. So yeah, and I know Bruno needs to get him out there, needs to get him going. It's just, it was an interesting choice. It was an interesting choice. It really makes me think about overtime. I have always loved 3-on-3 overtime, but it's losing some of its luster for me, Emma. Like, there's a part of me that thinks, okay, should the NHL think about going back to 5-on-5 overtime? Because in general, that's a better gauge of 60 minutes of hockey, is when you continue it looking the same. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about 3-on-3?
I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on it. I get
Mhm.
it. I understand why they have it that way, and a lot of it is for, like, length of game, pace of game
Mhm.
reasons. I do like that they still have it 5-on-5 in the playoffs, and I
Yeah.
hope, that doesn't change, but I don't know. I don't think the Players Association would ever let them go back to 5-on-5 for regular season personally. They're already not happy about the season getting longer by 2 games next year.
Yeah.
So, the whole idea, and I get it. It's like, well, if you want us to play more, pay us more. I get it. But I think that I I don't know. I like 3-on-3
Mhm.
when executed well, which the
There
Nashville
it is.
Predators did not
Did not.
do. So, that's the caveat, but I don't know, man. I think it was just so, like, at 5-on-5, or not even just 5-on-5, even like 4-on-5 when they were killing penalties.
Mhm.
It seemed like at least 7 of them were committed by Steven Stamkos. They looked good,
Mhm.
and but it just felt like the entire game for Nashville, all of regulation felt like a giant penalty kill. I think that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like they defended well, and it was all very good about protecting that, like, their house, but they weren't going to go and storm the other guy's house, and that is
Mhm.
just kind of how it felt. It was like a 60-minute penalty kill that they executed well, but then they got
Mhm.
to the 3-on-3 overtime, and it was like, oh, the game, we're still playing, like, that's what it looked like, and it was
Yeah.
like, guys, get we got another, and
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those things that I think it's so easy, especially with recency bias from last year. It's
Mhm.
easier to read a lot more into this overtime loss than what's actually there.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if last year hadn't happened, I think if you look at this and you think like, second
Mhm.
game of the year against a division opponent, they get the loser point. That's good. Hey, 2-game point streak, baby. That's where
On
we
our way. On our
so
way.
no regulation losses yet. So I think that in the grand scheme of things, it's important to kind of just, like, take a step back and look at it
Mhm.
and be like, all right, this could be a lot worse. But I think that
Yeah.
um you definitely felt like there was more there. There's more they could be doing. And I know that there's a lot of impatience based on how from the fan base, based
Mhm.
on how last year went, and I fully understand that. But I also think that it would be foolish to expect a complete 180 from last year at the beginning of this year. So I think that we're seeing, like I said, the progression to the mean. Fine for right now. Fine. But we need to see more. We need to see
Yeah.
more offensive, generation. We need to see better decision making, like, not commit so many freaking penalties. I mean,
Dudes.
we get it. We get it, guys. You have a really good penalty kill. That's great. We don't need to
Seen
use
it.
it all the time.
Box checked.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's fine for right now. It's
Mhm.
fine, but it's not enough.
Yeah. It's a Three Musketeer bar.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. Coming up, we're going to talk about a couple of things we're noticing in the first 2 games, and we know it's way too early to draw conclusions, but we're going to do it anyway, and we're going to preview tonight's game against Ottawa. Today's episode is brought to you by our great friends at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, friends, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get 300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you're going to unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You are going to love how FanDuel gives you so many different ways to play. You can build that same game parlay, try some player props, and even follow the live lines as the action unfolds. It is going to make watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you are a casual football fan or you're somebody who loves to dive into the statistics, FanDuel is going to make your game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit fanduel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, Emma, you are exactly right. It is way too soon to be super, super worried about this Nashville Predators team. But I do think there are a couple things we've seen in the first two games that are of note. You know how Emma and I like to file things in the of note cabinet. So we're pulling out the of note drawer and dropping in a couple of things. I would say, and we've touched on this already this episode, of note, this team looks much better defensively. And you've got to appreciate how they are defending. They have only allowed 5 high danger shots against out of 43 total shots taken, according to moneypuck.com. So they are limiting other teams' chances fairly well. And even if you just do the eye test, you don't dive into all of the advanced statistics, Nashville doesn't look confused in front of Juuse Saros. Juuse Saros does not look like he is trying to figure out what is unfolding in front of him. There is some structure and some calm to what we're seeing defensively. That is very encouraging. And I think it should be encouraging as you watch this team early.
Absolutely. It's again, no one is saying that, wow, they look amazing out there, because they
Right.
don't look amazing, quite frankly. They don't. And I don't think they would tell you they looked amazing either, but they look like they look so much better than last year. And hear me when I say that so much better than last year is a Three Musketeers bar. It's just
Right.
okay. They
Yeah.
look okay. And you know what? We will take it. We will take it, because like you
Celebrate
said,
it.
there is no panic. Everybody looks like they know where they're supposed to be. Juuse Saros looks like he can see the puck, which is allowing him to be the guy who keeps them in games. And, you know, in certain cases, like game 1 against Columbus, steals them games. And that's great. That's fantastic. But he can't steal you 82 games. So I think that you need to now, like it is promising that they've gotten the defensively, they look so
Mhm.
much better, so much better.
Yeah.
But the offense still isn't there. Now there's still time. There's still time.
Mhm.
But I think that, again, expecting a complete 180 from last year, where wow, they come out against Utah and they score 10 goals, like that would have been foolish to expect
Mhm.
that. So again, it's like we're kind of back where we started 2 years ago, which is not a bad place to be. It's
Yeah.
just okay. It's just
Yeah.
okay. And quite frankly, after last year, we will take it.
Yeah.
But this is not a team yet. Nashville is not a team that scares me offensively whatsoever. Like,
Yeah.
I if I'm, you know, whoever, if I'm Ottawa looking at this team, I'm not thinking like, man, how are we going to contain these guys offensively? Like, that's
They'll
not even
contain
crossing my
themselves.
mind.
They'll
They'll
contain
contain
themselves.
themselves, especially on the power play.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
actually, if we're Ottawa, we should say, actually, guys, we should commit penalties,
Yeah.
because then that's a guarantee they won't score. So I think that, you know, like you said earlier in the show, you can't win
Mm-mm.
that many games in this league by scoring 2 goals in
Yeah.
60 minutes. And that is all they've managed to do for 2 games now.
Yeah.
And, you know, in some games, that's going to work. That's going to be enough. It was enough against Columbus because Juuse Saros was amazing. It was enough to get the overtime point against Utah. But you need more than that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, again, it's a step in the right direction. And again, I think I don't want us to forget how god awful this team was defensively last year.
So
Okay.
bad.
The fact that there have been 2 games and I have not once called out Justin Barron for just an ungodly gaffe in the defensive zone, or for even being in the defensive zone, like, that's progress, people. Like,
Mhm.
he's not doing anything crazy out there, but he's also not, like, embarrassing himself. So I think that's all progress. We'll take that. Is it enough to make them a playoff team? No, not if they play like this the rest of the year. But again, it's
Right.
only been 2 games, so
Yeah.
we'll
And I
see.
think
They're
part
they're
of
starting in a they're starting in a better position than they did last year, not just points wise. Obviously, they're now 1-0-1, where it took them 7 games to get to that last year. But they it sounds made up. Like, you just
I
have
know
to
it sounds
laugh,
like we're
Susan.
lying, but
You
if
have
you all
to
weren't here
laugh.
last year, it's for real.
You have to
For real.
laugh, otherwise you cry because it was just so bad. But I think that, points wise, they're better, but they look better. You don't look at this team right now and think like, oh dear God, there's no hope.
Right.
And that's
Right.
kind of how you looked at this team at the beginning of last year. There's
Yeah.
something there. Like, again, I don't,
Yes.
they'll get there,
Yeah.
but it's baby steps.
Yeah. And I like that. I feel like, it's discouraging we're not seeing enough, but you can see that it's there. And I do think just 2 games in, it's not time to panic about the offense because you still don't have Stamkos going. You still don't have Evangelista going. I love that we saw Filip Forsberg score. We saw Roman Josi score. They took it back. But, you see the top players playing well. You're seeing that Holla Bunting, Marchessault line kind of doing their thing. I think you need more, of a scoring threat from the second and fourth lines. But if those can get going, there is something here. So I think that there's a lot to feel pretty good about. I also do want to shout out Brady Martin, who got his first NHL point in that game with a fabulous poke check to get the puck to Filip Forsberg, who then Forsberged, as he is wont to do. So there's a lot to be encouraged about, especially after last season, friends. A
Yes,
lot.
especially after last season.
Yeah.
But Forsberg did Forsberg, and one of the most Forsberg things that he did, and I feel like we see this so much, like over, this is now my 4th season covering him with this
Mhm.
team. No one will get more excited for his teammates'
Come on.
accomplishment than Filip Forsberg. Filip
Come on.
Forsberg scored the goal. The first thing he did was grab Brady Martin and pat him on top of the head, and his
So
face
excited.
just lit up. Like, he was so excited for Brady Martin.
Yep.
And that's a great teammate. It's a great leader. And again, we see this with him all the time. He's always been like that, where he's the most
Yeah.
excited guy, whether he's on the ice or on the bench. And I think that was great. The Josi goal, it was probably about 6 feet offside. So, like, even I caught that in real time. I'm like, that was a
Yeah.
beautiful shot. But yeah. And then when they were
Yeah.
playing the replay on the Jumbotron, they showed Josi, and
Mwah.
even his face was like, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
little offside, but the shot was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually interesting. 0 shots from the blue line yesterday from Nashville,
Huh.
or Saturday from Nashville. 0
Interesting.
shots from defensemen. So that one, um,
Though it
that
did not
ended up
count.
getting called back. Yeah, did not count. Which again goes to show, which, like, you shouldn't be relying on your defense to be
Mhm.
producing all of your offense. But when you have a guy like Roman Josi, you kind of expect him to produce a little bit of offense. And so I think that you're now, like, it just kind of, the numbers support what we saw, what we observed,
Mhm.
which is that a lot of defending, not a lot of offending. There
Yes.
needs to be more of that.
Yes. Well, and we hope we're going to see some of that in today's game. Remember, today's game is a noon puck drop. So start feeling sick about 10:30 this morning at work to get home in time for puck drop at noon, friends. It is the first game of, I believe it's a 4-game Canadian road trip. They are headed to Ottawa. They are taking on the Ottawa Senators tonight. Ottawa's a really interesting team. They surprised everybody, got into the postseason last year. This is going to be the season where Ottawa's going to try to take another step forward. They're 1-1. Still very early when you look at this team, but here is, and it's early, friends, but I love this stat. This stat gives me a little bit of hope. Nashville is right now, after 2 whole games, friends, first in the league in the penalty kill. They've had a lot of practice in 2 games. Ottawa, 32nd on the penalty kill. So you're saying there's a chance for the power play? Like, I mean, this would be a great night for Nashville to figure it out. Figure out something on the power play. And again, like Ottawa is, of course, going to change in rank. It's 2 games. So you can't take a ton from the stats. But I was like, well, maybe tonight's the night. Maybe. Or today. It's today. Today. Noon.
I know. It's crazy.
Noon.
Canadian Thanksgiving, for those wondering why we have a noon game on a Monday. But I think, I don't know, I think it's Indigenous Peoples Day. Is that what it is
I think
here?
it is.
Or
Yeah.
but I
And
thought we
Emma,
had
tell
gotten
us all again what it is that they eat for Canadian Thanksgiving.
not beaver. They do not eat beaver for Canadian Thanksgiving. But
Tried to
I
tell
will
me that before we recorded, and I was like, for real?
uh,
No.
my poker face a little too good.
No.
I no, Anne, no. But I think that I thought we had gotten rid of Columbus Day, like we didn't
We
call it
did.
Columbus
We're done
Day,
with it.
but in my calendar, like the Apple phone
Mhm.
calendar, iPhone
Mhm.
Apple phone. God, how old am I? The iPhone calendar, it says Columbus Day. So I'm like, "Oh,
Mine
did
says
we bring it
both.
back?" It's
Mine says
I
both.
don't know. But
We don't
anyway,
know.
it's Canadian Thanksgiving is the real holiday here. So that's why we're getting the noon game in Ottawa. But yeah, this is an Ottawa team, like you said, playoff team from last year. We saw a little something there. I think that the biggest thing I took away from watching them in the playoffs last year is that Brady Tkachuk needs some help offensively.
Mhm.
He can't do it
Yeah.
all himself.
Yeah.
I don't know that they really did much. I mean, of course, they got Dylan Cousins. They traded for him last year from Buffalo. He didn't really get going at any point, but maybe in the first full season with Ottawa, something will happen. I don't know. But I mean, they've had not an easy start to their schedule. I mean, they played
Yes.
Tampa in Tampa and won, to their credit. Then they lost 6-2 to the Florida Panthers. So now you like kind of two very opposite, as you mentioned, 1-1, like two very opposite
Mhm.
results. And now they get Nashville. And I'll be honest, I think, this is their home opener in Ottawa.
Yeah.
They're probably looking at Nashville like, all right,
Thank
guys, I
goodness.
think we got this one.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we got this one in the bag. But I think this would be a chance. It would be a good chance for Nashville to make a statement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Starting on the power play.
I
Just a thought.
know. Oh my gosh. Hockey players hate it when they hear people yell, shoot the puck. But on the power play at noon today, you may hear Emma and I screaming, shoot the puck.
They may hear us all the way in Ottawa. Like,
Yes. Shoot the
when
puck.
when they do that drill in practice, that passing drill
Oh,
when
yeah.
they're running
Yeah.
the power play, did they not know? Seriously, that's
That's
the
what it
sound.
sounds like. Mhm.
And I wanna just walk up to them afterwards and be like, "Do you guys know that, like, you're supposed to shoot the puck after
Mhm.
you pass it around
Mhm.
to one another?" Like, it's becoming a genuine question at this point because
Yep. One less pass, one more shot.
just think of it as a pass to the goalie if you need to. If you
That's
need to
how you need to frame it. There it is.
if you need to do those mental gymnastics in your head to, like, make your own peace with it, fine. Do
Do
whatever
that.
you need to do, but my
Pass it to the
god,
goalie.
pass it
Pass
to
it
the
to the
goalie.
goalie. That's genius. Well, I think Emma and I have basically solved all of the problems for the Nashville Predators by just reframing things. If you come at them from a different angle, you might find success. Well, we're going to see if Nashville has success. Again, game is at noon. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving, eh? Game is at noon. They don't eat wildlife. There's a lot I'm going to have to research after this because I believed her for a minute. Emma, before we log off on this Monday, will you let everyone know where to find you, your work, and your Canadian Thanksgiving recipes?
You can find me on social media at Emma_Lingan. You can find my work at the Hockey News. You can also find me personally asking every one of the Canadian Canadians on the Predators roster why they did not invite you and to Canadian Thanksgiving, because you have offered to host, I think, every single one of them at your house for American Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So
I would feed anybody on that team if they don't have somewhere to go for American Thanksgiving. And I don't want to brag. I make a great Thanksgiving spread. I really do.
I'm sure you do.
Except for the one time where a fork got cooked in the turkey, but that is a podcast for another day. Friends, you can find me on social media at @AnnK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio as well. That's going to do it for our Monday edition of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks again so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're going to be back tomorrow recapping the Ottawa game where they are going to pass to the goalie. We'll see you then.